And welcome to this week's episode of Kitty Talks. We share inspirational life stories that empower you to create yours. Today's guest is Simon Jordan. Hi, Simon.
Hey, hello, Kitty. Thank you very much for having me on this.
Yep, all the way from deepest, darkest Wales.
Yes, it is. It is very dark. It's only today, yeah.
Simon is a photographer, a writer, a speaker, and he's a founder of One Planet, One Place. One Planet, One Place inspires people to escape the busy world and become more present and fall in love with life again. That sounds wonderful, Simon.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the aim. So far, it's doing its job. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to know a bit more about it. So tell us about One Planet, One Place.
Okay. Well, it's been going for, it'll be 5 years. This September the 10th is its 5th year anniversary. And when I first started it off, it was actually way before that. When I started my business 8 years ago, my where the money comes from, I do branding and marketing, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. And I created the Simon Jordan radio show, and I was doing interviews, a bit like this, but I was interviewing business people. And what astounded me was the backstories. I was really inspired by that, a bit like what you're doing now. And then I thought, actually, I wanted to create something. So I changed it to One Planet, One Place. And I was sharing motivational images and stuff like that. And after a number of years, I thought, it's not really for my soul. I'm not really following my passions. My passion, I've always done photography. I've loved it ever since I was at college. My granddad was a photographer. And I've always looked at the world through cropping tools. You know, when you do photography, I remember my old tutor said to me, get two this L-shaped bits of card. You know, you'll see film directors doing this, you know. And he said, go off around the college, go around the campus and look through the world through these cropping tools. And when you do that, you're taking stuff out of context. Like if an artist, if you paint this water bottle, if you look at the water bottle, yeah, it's plastic, you know, and that's it. But when you start to look at the detail of it, you see all the beauty of how it's created. Same thing when you look at the world through cropping tools. So now I have this app that's on my brain all the time. I was always looking for that shot, the light or whatever. And living around here, it's beautiful, surrounded by the mountains. So anyway, last 2 years ago, I was in France and I spoke to my mum. It was on the 23rd of August, I think I got the dates right. And I was working with my partner at the time. We had a brewery,
right?
And we were making a lot of money. And I phoned my mum on the Sunday night, and I said, "Mum, you know, I really want you now to kick back." She'd lost her husband 2 years previously, and I said, "I want you just to really relax now. I want to give you a load of cash each week. I want to transfer a load of money each month so you can just relax and not worry, because we've got a big farm. It's not a working farm, but it's, you know, there's a holiday cottage, a fair bit of land." And I said, "I want you just to really relax and enjoy life." You know, she's 78, but had the energy of a 38-year-old. Unbelievable. You know, a year before, she'd done a microlight flight near Snowdon, all this kind of stuff. Phenomenal. Just an amazing, inspiring woman. Has always inspired me. And I said, I'd also like to interview you for my kids. I've got 2 kids, and for their kids. So it's something because she's just a great story. And
she's an inspiration. Yeah, her life sounds like an inspiration.
Oh, just an amazing person. Her energy, her love, you know, what she wouldn't do for people is amazing. And 24 hours later, she had a stroke. The following morning, she'd passed away in hospital. And I thought, shit, you know, what am I doing? And it absolutely rocked my world. I'm still grieving now, 2 years later. It really blew me away. It rips the world from underneath me. My rock had gone. And I thought, what the bleep am I doing? I'm not enjoying life here in France. I'm not enjoying working with the brewery. And my relationship went down the pan. I couldn't cope. I really couldn't. You know, I went into depression. I had bad anxiety. And I just thought, I don't want to do it. And I came back to the farm. I came back to Wales. And I felt grounded. And I needed that. And I wanted to escape this mad, crazy, busy world. and I started to spend more and more times out in the mountains. I climbed Snowdon, God knows how many times. I've done all around there. We've got 3 dogs now, and it's just, I thought, this is where my passion, and I was just talking to you before this.
Yeah.
I remember climbing a mountain called Trivan, which is where Ranulph Fiennes used to use for his training for Everest, which I'm going to Everest Base Camp this year. And I remember with my brother climbing to the top of this mountain, and the mist was so dense. We were sitting there having a cup of tea, freezing. It was like almost like being in a padded cell. The sound was so close, and on top of the mountain, just amazing, But it was the mist was so close. Anyway, we carried on, finished our tea, and carried on over the mountain. And as we were going back down into the Ogwen Valley, the clouds just parted, and the sun shone through the clouds, lighting up, which is part of the Ogwen Valley called the Devil's Kitchen. And I remember standing there with my arm around my brother. I was in tears with total euphoria and thinking, this is what I should be doing. Not standing on a mountain crying, but capturing these moments, escaping from the busy world. So I changed One Planet, One Place from being a source of lots of interviews and just posting motivational images to something which I really felt passionate about. There is an absolute place, similar for these interviews, an absolute place for these. But I wanted to share what was my true passion, and that was photography, capturing that and sharing that with the world. And so we now have the podcast, we do the mindfulness in motion videos, and obviously the photography. I produced the calendar at the end of last year, obviously for this year, 2017, and that's sold out.
And how many followers has One Planet, One Place got?
212,000, I think.
Wow.
On climbing. And it's great. We've got the podcast, which goes out every week. And when people sign up on there, they get the first to hear, to do the photography. So what I do now, instead of just taking a photo, like for instance, last Friday, I drove up. I spend a day a week out in the mountains, sometimes more, because I love being there. And the snow had fallen. And I drove up, stuck the 2 dogs in the back of the car. My old one stayed at home, so it's just not good for him. And we drove up. And luckily, where I parked, the snow was okay, but it wasn't impassable. And what I do, I record a podcast as I'm there, so I'm explaining, what I'm seeing, and so people can really be engaged and there with me. And then I'm photographing, and I will do a video as well, explaining, look at this. I did a beautiful shot down the Llanberis Pass. So you've got the river and you've got the mountains, and I'm explaining. So when people see the photo, they see the story behind it. They're there with me. And some of the comments I've got have been amazing. Sorry, Kissy.
No, I was just going to ask, because it sounds to me like I truly believe people need to follow their passion and purpose. The whole point and idea of these talks is to share people's life journey to where they've gone to, or where they've come from to where they are now, and what the points are that have kind of led them there. And by the sounds of things, your mum's passing had a massive, almost like it was a bit of an epiphany and a wake-up call for you, because maybe you'd gone a little bit off track. Yeah. And actually, that was something that brought me back. So as much as it was horrible, it's maybe something, gift.
Absolutely. It's just like, I need to follow my passion. You hear so many people say, follow your passion, follow your dream. I thought, no, I've actually got to step in there. I mean, with my other business, I love it. I love working with my clients. I've done it, and I'm really seeing those amazing moments with my clients. But I'm there at midnight working on my photography, or I'm up at
that shows you something.
It's like, that's my passion.
Yeah.
I absolutely. I mean, I can take a photo. I mean, these are sold out. This is an old one. An old one is the one I wouldn't sell, but this is Canada. I'm just taking some of these pictures. I'll show you one where it was the sunrise on Snowdon.
And how interesting is that? So you were saying,
oh my God. Seeing that, I was just, oh my God.
And
goosebumps, amazing.
And how interesting is that? Because, like you were telling me beforehand that obviously these calendars that you've done have totally sold out. And of course, this is you following your passion and purpose, taking pictures that you truly love. And then now you're making a living from it.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it doesn't quite make a living just yet. It's still early days, but I'm writing poetry as well. And it's can I read one?
Yeah, I'd love you to.
Right. I've just come back from a run, so my throat. I was just telling the kid before. I come back from a run. I always seem like I've got a cold for the next half hour. I am in love. She has bathed me in her beauty. She has warmed me. She has frozen me. She can be wicked and also calming. She has a depth that cannot be measured. She has made me smile when I've been empty and sad. She has lifted me up and given me peace. She has taken my breath away and breathed life into me. She has scared me half to death. She has blown me off my feet and also made me stand still and just stare. She is a mother. She is our mother. Her name is Mother Nature. She has given us all so much, and all she asks now is that we look after her. Save our mother, save our home. One planet, one place.
Oh, wow.
I read that, and I was, I just got off the table. I think about my mother as well, and what she gave us as the children. What's, I was there doing her reading at the church, looking back at her life. So I think it's, for me, it's something I want to leave. I want my photos. I mean, the calendar's gone out to Canada, Norway, America, all over the UK. So.
And how interesting that it's almost like I truly believe we're on a life journey. You were telling me that you kind of built that platform, and then you weren't necessarily sure how to where to take it. You had all these people tuning in, but you weren't sure where to take it. And now you're stepping into something that maybe been in the background, but it's always been your passion. And now you're bringing that passion to the foreground, and kind of things are happening and doors are opening. And like you said, okay, it's not making you a living yet. But for people out there listening, if you've got, I was listening to somebody who's really good at writing eulogies or really good at writing wedding speeches. And he was thinking, how can I make my living out of doing that? But of course you can. It's having the courage to maybe then write things for other people, or it's having these skills, these creative talents like you with your photography. It's like, how do we monetize those? But I think, in my experience, when we step into what we're supposed to be doing, things open up, and the synchronicities start to come in, basically. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think what it's also important, I know you do a lot of this, but it is about, the law of attraction, really picturing. So I have in my fridge what I want.
Yes.
And I really feel it. I want to be doing talks on, I do talk a lot about mindfulness, which has helped me through depression, anxiety, things like that, to really be in the moment. I did a podcast. In fact, if you go to oneplanetandplace.com/podcast11, you can hear that podcast. I'm on the beach, and I spent a couple of minutes, and you could just listen to the waves, and I'm talking about how you can become more present. It doesn't matter where you are in the world, a really busy city, when you become totally present, because all we have is now. The future hasn't arrived yet. The past is gone. Just be now. And you almost take a step back and you look at the world, or all the people rushing past, commuting or whatever. And it's a beautiful moment, and it always makes me smile. And you can do it anywhere. It doesn't matter. So I'm taking people through that. So I will be writing a book this year about gratitude as well. I always say gratitude is the language of the truly rich. And with my photography as well. So it'll be like a journal stroke book stroke gratitude list with photography. So that's the idea.
And do you mind if I take you back a little bit, like in your history? Well, because I'm really interested in people's stories and how, we quite often go through what seems to be really tough times, but actually there's a reason that we're going through those tough times. And I know that you've kind of been on a real journey around your kind of your weight, your fitness. At one stage, I know you were quite heavily overweight. Is that right?
I was a fat sod, yeah. I really
didn't want to say those words.
Yeah, it was okay. I was 28, not stone. I was 23 stone, actually, which is 322 pounds. Anyway, I was...
You are tall, though.
I am 6 foot, I managed to hold it reasonably well, but it was...
23 stone is still a lot of
yeah, that's a lot of weight now. And funny enough, I was listening to a Radio 4 play, and I then joke, say, yes, there are 20-year-olds who listen to Radio 4. And it was a program about abuse. And my mum and dad separated when I was 7. Well, everyone's do, nowadays they do that, big deal. But at the age of 9, I was being abused. And that went on for a few years. And I'd always sort of shelved it.
What type of abuse? Do you mind me?
It was sexual abuse.
Oh, wow.
And it was, kids have a way of, well, we all do, have a way of blanking stuff out. So it's always in the background. I always knew it sort of happened, but it was part of growing up, maybe. You make some ridiculous sense of, we can't live in chaos, so we always make sense of it. So that's what I did. It was my reasoning for it was, maybe it's part of growing up. I mean, total bullshit. Abuse isn't part of growing up at all. It should never be. So I just shelved it, and then I'm not a religious person. I believe in Mother Nature. I believe in the energy and spirits and stuff like that. But I believe some people say God will never give you more than you can handle.
Right.
Whoever you believe. And I think it parked my mind, or whatever, my angels, or whatever, had parked this memory. And then when I was 28, I just heard this thing, and it just, I would say, Pandora's box, it didn't just fall open, it exploded. And
28 is your Saturn's return.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so the Saturn comes back into your chart at 28, around that time. So it takes us from childhood into adulthood. So stuff that you've had in your childhood comes up for cleanse. So people have massive stuff happening around that period of the time.
Well, I think Saturn kicked the door in with a great big hobnail boots on, kicked me up the backside. And I couldn't cope. So I went from a very fit, slim, 6'2" man to just going out, binge drinking. I got into cocaine and other substances. I never did any, say, hard stuff. I never got into heroin. Smoking, drinking, eating whenever I can, purely just to hide the pain. And this went on for a while. My relationship fell apart. I met someone else, and we ended up getting married eventually. I had 2 kids, gorgeous kids together. But in that time, I was just a mess. I mean, the stuff I was putting in my body, bloody hell.
What kind of brought it back to the surface? What, obviously Saturn's return has a way of doing that, but what was the...
It was the play. When I wasn't the play, it was just a discussion on Radio 4.
Wow, so it kind of triggered it.
Yeah, for those people listening, Radio 4 is a BBC channel. It's just audio, essentially, there's no music on it. And I just, this thing, someone talking about abuse, and they were mentioning, I thought, oh my God, well, that happened to me. And it just fell apart. And I hated myself. I went through more therapists than someone has had, slightly less. And I remember doing one therapy session, I was thinking about it the other day actually, where they take you into the cinema. They put you in sort of mild hypnosis, take you into the cinema, not a real cinema, just the cinema in your mind, and you play back you as a kid. And I was on the swings in this garden, and me as the adult me wanted to kill the little me. I hated the little me so much. I blamed myself for this abuse. I was 9 years old, but that was the hatred I have for me. So I just wanted to hide that pain through king-size Mars bars had come out at that time. So that's fantastic. So I was just eating and I was a mess. And because my energy levels were a mess, and I think a lot of depression can be down to diet as well, because when you're eating,
yeah, of course,
your energy levels are down, you have massive dips, and oh God, the world's terrible. So you have more crap or whatever to bring you up. It's a sharp spike, and then you plummet even further down, and it just carries on. And I was never addicted. I was just addicted to getting rid of the pain. So, whatever I could eat, and just a lot of crap.
Yeah, and were you conscious? Because I think there's a shift, isn't there? Because, like, personally, I had, you and I've got a similar story, drugs and alcohol, and I wasn't really conscious of why I was doing things. I was just doing things. It took a while before the connection came into what I was doing, if you see what I mean.
I think at the time, no, I don't think I was. I suppose I just knew that being in this state was better than... I wanted to keep myself busy, I suppose.
Not have to think about what had happened.
Exactly. Yeah. In fact, I've been now living on my own for coming up to 8-9 months. And the first 2 months of moving back to Wales and being in my mother's old farm, I'm sort of the housekeeper of it now. It was quite painful because you now have that time to think. But it's actually incredibly powerful. I'm and I think that's what a lot of us, we want to be busy all the time because we don't want to have that time to think. We don't like being on our own. Well, once you conquer that, you become stronger, more grounded. So anyway, I was in a real mess. I used to lie awake just thinking, how can I end it all and all that kind of stuff. But I was too chicken to jump in front of a bus or whatever. Anyway, so my new partner said, you need to go to the doctors. So I went to the doctors and they said, yeah, you're depressed, have some tablets. And I thought, what a load of old bull. Seriously? You're just going to put a sticking plaster on a massive volcano? And I took the tablets home. I looked at them and then threw them in the bin. I think I took one and just thought, this is ridiculous. Throw them in the bin. I thought, only and it was because of that anger and that pain. And I thought, sod the world, sod the doctors. I'm going to take control of my life. And I started running. And the only time when I was told this, I said, I would wobble. The only time I would run is if the local shop was closing down the road. I'd never really run. I used to do a fair bit of cycling when I was younger. And in that period, I started to run. I joined a running club because I thought I want to have some goals. And I ran a 10K race. And it was terrible. And I remember finishing it and going, I really fancy a fag now. Now, when I've told this, when I've told this story in the States, and I'm on stage, and I finish it with a fag, and they're like, "You had a what? No, not a cigarette. Yes. It's not a homosexual." Yes. It's like, oh dear. Anyway, so I finished that, and I really fancy cigarettes. So this isn't right. So I thought, I started to think, I need to clean up my diet as well. And I did the Great North Run. Sorry, Kitty.
I was going to say, would you, like, by the sounds of things, you kind of had a bit of a breakthrough, and because I'm just thinking about people out there, like, unfortunately, like you said, abuse should never be part of anybody's growing up. But for people out there who, I hope to God there isn't anyone, but if there is anyone listening and they're trying to deal with that in the present moment, what would your advice be for them?
It's not your fault.
Yeah.
It's not your fault. It really isn't. What was the film with, oh, bloody hell, what's it called? With Matt Damon and Robin Williams. And Matt Damon plays this abuse victim. It was one of their first films.
Right.
Good Will Hunting.
Oh, okay.
There's a bit in there, even now it gives me goosebumps. And Robin Williams is the psychiatrist, the therapist, whatever you call him. And he just grabs Matt Damon, who's a highly intelligent man, but very angry. And he just grabs him and says, "It's not your fault." He's fight against it. And I was thinking, shit, that's how I remember the first time I saw that, I just burst into tears. It was just, it's not your fault. Don't take ownership of it. It's not your fault. And you know what? There is a way out.
Yeah.
And through me, it was through sport. There was something, I would look at what you're eating, get rid of the sugars, because it's not helping you. It will plummet your energies down. And when you're tired, as we all know, the world is a crap place when we're tired, but chemical lows, give up the coffee. I have 1 coffee a day now. Start looking at what you're eating. When your body feels better, your mind will feel clearer. And then if you can, start exercising. I don't want to exercise, but you know what? You'll have more energy. You'll feel better. Start writing, putting your worries down. Doesn't matter what you write. It might be, I hate, blah, 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 whatever. Just get them out. You have some kind of a way. Start a journal. Do that. Just writing down. But then start looking at life. And there's 5 questions, if I remember it right. What are you most happiest about right now? So you could be in bed when you're listening to this or watching this. Well, it might be it's nice and warm in the duvet. Could be anything. It could be if it's raining outside. Most people will bloody raining. But look at the raindrops. Listen to the rain outside on the window pane. There's a song in it somewhere. And then, what are you most proud of that you've done so far in your life? It could be you've baked a cake, or there's got to be something. And then, who are your friends? So that's the 3rd question. Who are your friends? And then, I think there's maybe 4 questions.
That's like gratitude.
Exactly. Yeah. Who loves you? And just start thinking, because you think, wow, who are my friends? You go, well, there's Bob and there's Jane and whatever. Well, actually, there's that person, and there's them, and there's Kitty, and then there's the other people. And you start to think, well, actually, wow, I've got a lot of people. And then who loves you? Your family, your kids, or whatever, your dog.
Yeah.
And then what are the 3 things you're grateful for? That's the 5th one. Name 3 things that you're grateful for right now. And just try and do that and write them down as well, the process of actually writing it down. But at the end of that, it's not your fault. It's just, but we all, I see my abuse now as a gift.
Wow.
Think, are you completely mad? But because I've gone through so much therapy, I am more in touch. I feel I connect more. I do wear my heart on my sleeve, which means I can get hurt easier. I've had some terrible relationships. But I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't change it, because I just feel more. I have more connection with Mother Nature. I can stand on top of a mountain and really, I'm not embarrassed of crying or just owning my feelings of that moment. I'm just really embracing life rather than just this hard shield, which I put on Facebook the other day. I can't trust a man who doesn't hug. And I just, because I want people to really love themselves and go, you know what? Just, yeah, it's important to have that connection. We live on an amazing planet. We live in an amazing place, you know.
And how long did it take you to get from the point of, obviously, you know, covering up your abuse by food and drink and, you know, to a place where actually now I can see that there's a gift in this? This is a big transition.
Oh, many years. But in terms of my progression, it was from the day I started running, 18 months later, I then went down to 13 stone, was about 182 pounds, having lost 10 stone. And finished the London Marathon in 3 hours 45. That was my goal. That's what I wanted to do. And I didn't know about personal development then. I really didn't. But I slowly, over the matter of years later, I found out about Tony Robbins, did the firework, stuff like that, trained as an NLP practitioner. I didn't want to be a coach. I just fascinated how I did it. How did
you discover it? How did you kind of get into the people?
Funny story. I was a creative director of an ad agency.
Yeah.
And I was commuting. I had two small kids, and I was commuting on a motorbike 100 miles a day into town, doing this work, coming back, coming home like 8 o'clock at night. The kids would be in bed. I thought, this is cool. I don't want to be doing this anymore. I like the creative world, love the ad industry world, but I just thought, I want time with my family. This leaflet dropped through the door, and a company called Utility Warehouse, if you've heard of them, they do the phone, electricity, everything. And I got talking to the guy, and it was, long story short, I joined them. I joined the network marketing company and started doing that part-time because I thought maybe this is a way out. And in order to be successful in that, because it's a people business, you need to learn about people. So that's where I went on to, I was invited to go and see Anthony Robbins. I started to listen to Jim Rohn, the great late Jim Rohn, brilliant business philosopher, guru. And just listening to all this stuff, which I'd never heard of before. And really embedding myself in their knowledge and taking all this stuff on and just opened my world out. It was amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
And your answer to your question before, and that's when I started to see what had happened to me as a gift, because we're all on a path. We're all here for a reason, no matter what crap you go through. You know, I'd attracted that stuff into my life. Okay, the abuse, I didn't. I don't think a 9-year-old, any child should ever attract. But I think what happens now, you know, if you're constantly in bad relationships or you're just shit happens to you all the time, you've got to take a step back and go, okay, well, what am I putting out there? What am I attracting? You know, start thinking about, well, maybe I need to more self-love. That's something I've learned from last year. I'm not going to put up with stuff like, you know, I've put up with before. You know, I wanted a relationship. I needed a relationship in my life. I needed a strong woman around because I don't think I could do it on my own. Now, after having that time together, I want someone in my life, but I don't need them. If I'm on my own, I'm happy. I don't need them. And to get to that place, not everyone has that opportunity to live on their own, but it's a powerful place to be. I'm fine with being on my own, thinking about my thoughts. You know?
I think it's a really valid point that you make, because I think a lot of us make the mistake of not working on ourselves and then maybe getting into relationships but not being complete. And so when we're not complete, we attract a soul that's not complete either. And actually, like you said, it's much better two complete souls to come together and have a healthy, functioning relationship and actually be able to, you know, to be perfectly fine without one another, but actually they're coming together because they enrich and enhance one another's lives.
Exactly. But I think we attract someone because they will fill the gap.
There's lessons.
Gap. Yeah. But I do believe we all meet people for, you know, you've a guy you've been with for a couple of years, but he will be in your life for a reason. We learn from people, and they're all there for a reason. But it's to be in a place where you don't need someone.
Yeah.
You know, happy in yourself, love yourself enough. So yeah, that's one of the massive learning curves I went through.
But amazing, you can get to a place now where you know can see the abuse as a gift and actually.
Yeah, I know. You just think, what, really? But yeah, because if it hadn't happened, well, who knows? You know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. But it's who I am today. You know, so.
Yeah, and I love interviewing people like yourself who have kind of taken their lives, you know, from a real transition of like really perceived, you know, bad place to now doing amazing things on the planet, you know.
I do, but I still have, do I deserve it? Am I good enough? I still have that crap that's going on, which I'm still working on. And it's just, I still think, even with my calendar, before I started putting my up, will people really buy it? The weird thing is, I only photograph for me. I don't take a picture and go, oh, the people of, the followers on One Planet or Place will like it. I if it gives me goosebumps, I take that. Because I know there's other people out there like me who would like that stuff. And when I produce the calendar, people say, oh, you should do this. And if someone comments on my photographs, oh, it's amazing, whatever, I just think, yeah, terrible. It's like, yeah, what do you know? It's just a silly devil on my shoulder. I'm like, just shut up, clear off. Because I'm thinking, well, thanks, very nice, but I don't really own him. I don't do it with ego. And I go, hey, yeah, look at me, I'm doing some good stuff. And I'm becoming more humble. Thinking, well, thank you very much. And the community I'm building is a bit of social media stuff. But I did a comment last week saying, where do you escape to? Posting pictures. Over 200 odd comments, and I replied to every single one of them. It's like, well, thank you for taking the time. Because it's part of the brand is to be humble, to have gratitude. If people have taken the time, then it's about that engagement. So anyway, going back, I just think, will people really buy my calendar? Yeah, they flew out. The only one I've got left is on the wall, and that one I just showed you, which was just as a demonstration one. It's all bent, so I can't sell that one.
But wonderful, yeah. But I think, it's a continual journey, isn't it? Like,
heavens, yeah.
Every day, like you said, it's a kind of, well, am I good enough? I think a lot of people have that kind of story going on. But and what's next? So you've done your calendar.
Well, I will do my photography book. I was looking at self-publishing that because really, you've got to be like David Bailey, I imagine, to go out and get a publisher. And I was looking at different prices, but it's a big coffee table book, and cost per unit was coming very expensive. No one's going to buy it at that rate. So I've now found a company who will self-publish. It will be less pages. So I'm going to be doing that. But I do want to put a book out there, which will be part of my journey to help other people, to inspire them. People who maybe do suffer from anxiety. But along with my photos, some of the poetry about mindfulness, I'll take people through the steps of being mindful. And also gratitude as well. And there'll be spaces in there for people to write as a journal. Just something to carry around with them. And I mean, the comments I got, there was one a couple of months ago from a lady, and she said, looking at your photography, you've inspired me to go out and see the outside world more. And I went, that is exactly what I wanted. That is my goal. I almost said it word for word. I want to inspire people. And as you said at the beginning, the One Planet Place is to inspire people to escape a busy world, whatever that might be, in the moment, being in the moment. Listen to my podcast, look at the photographs, to go out wherever, to become more present, and that's the mindfulness, and to fall back in love with life again, and to also fall in love with you again. Because I think when you get rid of all that busyness, it's something I do with my clients, and I've had a lot of clients come to me, right, we want to be doing this, and I'm like, well, do you? Let's look at that. And even when you come down to your diet, clear up your diet. When you get clarity in your head, you can think straight and go, now I know what I should really be doing. What really fires? You can hear this. You'll know this when you're speaking to people. You can, by the energy in their body, what fires them up.
This is what we talked about. Like, that's why I love, interviewing people like yourself. Who've got really transformative journeys, because the whole point is to inspire others to tune into your little voice.
Absolutely.
I'm sure, we all ignore the little voice in our head that's telling us, oh, do that. And you think, oh, I can't make money from that. Or, I haven't got the confidence to walk away from my job. Or, that little voice will get louder and louder and louder. Yeah. And unfortunately, something big happens. Like, it could be the passing of a relative, or it could be, I had one guy interview, he fell off a ladder, and it was only then he could listen to what he was supposed to be doing, because he was ignoring the signs, basically.
I mean, I've always known, it is. It's absolutely important. I've always known from a very early age, I'm here for a reason. And I used to think, well, what is it? And I think it is to make a difference on the planet. And I've never known what. And I know now, through my passion, through sharing my journey, just getting people to, the main thing is to fall back in love with life again and go, wow, it's a beautiful place. And to do that, I'm not a coach, even though I've studied the NLP and stuff like that. But just whatever I can do. If I'm sharing my journey, I did the first Facebook Live within the group or on the fans yesterday, and we've had 2,000 views of that. I'm just sharing. I'm like, look at this beach, isn't it beautiful? Listen to the waves, and that's the podcast to be listened to on the site as well. I just want people to manage to escape wherever they are to have that moment of, oh, this is just beautiful. The world is an incredible place. You could be, I lived in London for 20 odd years, I think. And I've actually done photographic studies of places in London. I actually become far more creative when I'm in a city because I'm looking at the smaller things. I did a photographic study purely for me called the Yellow of London Underground, because people always think it's red. But I got fascinated by all the yellow things, like the barriers, the temporary barriers they put up have a yellow stripe on them. The poles are yellow. The yellow line on the platform. The plugs are yellow. When you go up the escalators, they have those black rubber strips. When they're clean, there's little dots on there which are actually yellow. So I found ones with the yellow. I did this whole montage, and it was called the Yellow of London Underground, just for me. And I love stuff like that.
They say that you should do whatever lights you up in any present moment, and that's a perfect example there of it not been making particular logical sense, but actually you just followed what lit you up and what really interested you. And if the vision for Kitty Talk, Simon, is to inspire a generation of change agents to follow their passion and purpose, by everybody tuning in, everybody doing what you're now doing, what shift can we make on the planet?
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, it is. It's, I think, and you've got to start with you first. It's, what's the line? Be the change you want to see in the world, or something. But fall in love with
the change you want to see in the world. Gandhi.
Yeah, exactly. It is Gandhi. Yeah, I did another. Well, I went to a car show. I'm a big car nut, bit of a petrol head. We've got 5 cars on the farm. Lots of classics, Austin Healey's and Moggy Mine and stuff like that. We went to a car show. And everyone taking these pictures of the cars, and I was fascinated by the detail. So I've got pictures of the chrome bumper, or part of the badge, or the lady on the front of the bonnet of the rolls and stuff like that. Just taking crop section, and that's again going around the world with the cropping tool. And I put a montage together, and just bring it just for me. In fact, my sister wanted it, and she's got it framed on her wall now. But just to see the world differently, it is a truly beautiful place. If you stand back, if you want to see good things in the world, you will look through good glasses. Whereas if you want to see crap in the world, you'll look with crap glasses. But it's true. You can focus on whatever you want to focus on. And I don't listen to the news. I turn it off in the car. I cannot remember the last time I picked up a newspaper. We've got a holiday cottage, and the last people who stayed there, because we rent it out, we have friends over, and load of paper. I think, great, I don't read it. I use it for lighting the fire. I don't need to know that stuff. I know about Donald Trump and stuff like that. I think, well, it's going to happen. There's nothing I can do about that per se at the moment. All I can help is my family, my friends, and my community. That's all I can help. I'm not going to worry about the stuff that's out there. What good is it going to do?
Yeah, I think if everyone focuses on themselves and helping themselves, then absolutely we can make a shift as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Kitty Talks. Be sure to head over to our kittytalks.com website and become a member of our exclusive club, and you'll get free interviews and access to our private Facebook group, exclusive webinars and secret success interviews. See you there.